Hey, folks, good morning and welcome to another episode of Steelers Morning Rush. I'm Alan Saunders. It is Wednesday, October 16th, and the Steelers are having their first practice today of the week for week 7, getting ready to play the New York Jets on Sunday Night Football. We got a lot to talk about this week. Have another episode of Steelers Afternoon Drive with me and Zachary Smith a little later after practice. Also have some sights and sounds from practice, I'm sure, and maybe some locker room video as well. So make sure you like, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications here on the YouTube channel so you don't miss a thing. Today I want to talk about one thing Mike Tomlin said yesterday and expand it to maybe ridiculous proportions. So in the conversation about the Steelers starting quarterback battle, there are a lot of positives to Russell Wilson. He's just a better passer, and the Steelers have been not a very good passing offense, 28th in passing right now. I think you can argue whether that's good enough or not, but I mean, Mike Tomlin was pretty clear in saying that he didn't think it was. He said we've been good, but I wouldn't confuse it with great. And it's clear he's looking for more out of their passing offense. I wrote this morning at SteelersNow.com about what has happened to George Pickens, and if Tomlin thinks that moving from Fields to Wilson will elevate the play of George Pickens, that is a really good reason to make that switch. However, you are certainly losing something in Justin Fields' legs if you make a change from Fields to Wilson. Fields is probably one of the best running quarterbacks in NFL history. He's certainly among the best in the league right now. He's just really, really special at it. And he has scored a ton with those legs. In addition to all the first downs he's picked up, all the sacks he's avoided, all the times he's kept himself available to make a play downfield. I mean, you just look at him purely as a rusher and you don't consider the other yardage that he's saved the team or helped gain 55 carries for 231 yards and 5 touchdowns. That's not bad in 6 games for your secondary rusher. So is there a way that the Steelers could keep Justin Fields' legs in the game and also get Russell Wilson's arm in the game? No, I'm not talking about a Frankenstein situation here. Mike Tomlin was asked directly yesterday, is there a possibility where both quarterbacks play? And he said, yes, absolutely. Now, you could take this 2 ways. You could take this, hey, somebody starts and gets benched and then the other guy gets in. Yeah, we're all aware of that possibility. And Tomlin seemed to hint that it wasn't that far away from happening against the against the Las Vegas Raiders. But what about playing them both at the same time? Or maybe not actually at the same time, but what about some kind of rotation at quarterback? That's not something that's really ever worked a lot in NFL history. But I don't think we should entirely dismiss it either. I think the Steelers have the pieces for something like that to work. Hear me out. Russell Wilson is a pretty good passing quarterback, and he's gotten better as he's gotten older at things that the Steelers really want to do. He's really good at play action. Justin Fields is not good at play action. Wilson is slightly better at getting rid of the ball quickly. He throws a really nice deep ball. He's a little bit more accurate, right? Like he brings a reading of the defense level that Justin Fields just does not have. If you look at the All-22 from that Raiders game, there are a number of plays where there are open guys downfield, even with the Steelers receiving talent, what it is, and Justin Fields just can't find him. The obvious goal of playing Russell Wilson is try to take more advantage of some of those situations. But can you make it work where you bring in Justin Fields, not just maybe on 4th and 1 to be the quarterback sneak specialist, but as a regular part of the offense to sort of rotate in, keep the threat of his legs alive? I don't know. It's not been done very often. It has been done in the NFL, though, and it worked very well for the Miami Dolphins back in the early 1980s. They had 2 quarterbacks. They had David Woodley, who later would play for the Steelers, and Don Strock. And they rotated. Woodley was the running quarterback. Strock was a pure pocket passer. And until Dan Marino became the starting quarterback with the Dolphins, those guys swapped back and forth. And Woodley would usually start. And then if the Dolphins got into a passing situation, they went to Strock. I don't know if that particular method could work for the Steelers. There is another more recent example of this working at least a little bit, and that's Taysom Hill with the New Orleans Saints. Now, Hill is a former quarterback that the Saints have kind of turned into an all-purpose player. Plays a little tight end, plays a little special teams, does kind of a whole bunch of stuff. But he still can play some quarterback, but he hasn't been doing it a lot. He's only got 4 snaps of quarterback so far this season. More often than not, he's lining up in the offensive backfield as like a gadget player or an all-purpose player. I don't know that the Steelers want to go there with Justin Fields just yet, although I guess that's a possibility for, the future. I don't think Justin Fields, who has played the best quarterback of his career so far, should be thinking that, he can't be an NFL quarterback and that he needs to find a new position. That's what happened with Taysom Hill. Just not a very good quarterback. So I think not a really good analog for what I'm talking about. I'm not sure Woodley and Strock are a good analog either, because I think Fields is a more dynamic runner than Woodley ever was, and teams now are much more willing to rely on a quarterback's legs than they were in the early 1980s. So I call me crazy, but I can see it working. I think Russell Wilson will be a better passer. I'm very confident in that. But I would still want to find a way to use Justin Fields' legs. He is too good at that, and those contributions are too valuable to let them sit on the bench. The other thing I asked Mike Tomlin about is the personalities of these guys. I think that is where the big hiccup here is, right? That somebody wants to be the quarterback. And then you have this, frustration dynamic. When this has worked in college football, and it has worked in college football. Steve Spurrier used to do it all the time in Florida. Penn State did a little bit. There's been lots of schools in college football that have made this work. But in college football, it's usually a scenario where you have a guy heading out and a guy coming in, right? You've got players at different ages, and there's a, hey, somebody help me out, so I'll help the next guy out. You kind of band it together, right? And with pro players, with their salaries tied to their performance, both of these guys are on expiring contracts. There's a possibility for someone to say, no, I'm not splitting time. That's stupid. I don't want to do that. Either play me or don't play me. I don't think that really fits the personality of the guys that I've gotten to know so far. They both seem to be fairly selfless people. I know Russell Wilson has this reputation that preceded him to Pittsburgh. I've not seen any of that. He was working on the scout team while he was hurt, like throwing extra passes for receivers while he was hurt, just because, it was something he could do to contribute. That doesn't sound like a guy who's going to be offended if Justin Fields comes in and does some of the running for him because he's 35 and the Steelers don't want him to get hit 30 times a game. So I don't know. I think it's a really interesting idea. I'm not sure it would work. I think it's probably very risky, just because anytime you do something unorthodox and it doesn't work, you look quite stupid. But I think Mike Tomlin is also not a coach that's afraid of looking stupid. I don't think he would have made, the whole idea of benching a quarterback who is 4-2, whose offense just scored 30 points, is opening yourself up to a whole world of criticism anyway. Why not do it in the way that you think is most effective for your team? I'm not saying he does. I'm just saying if you do, I don't know. This is kind of an interesting option. I think I would really hate to see Justin Fields' running ability just completely taken out of the Steelers' offense. I think it has provided a real benefit to them, especially in the red zone. Is Russell Wilson willing to be the between the 20s quarterback and then Justin Fields comes in? I don't know, but I think that might work. I'm interested to see where this goes. I think that being a possibility to me is something that interests me. I think they have the right guys to do it. It's never really been it has been done, but it's been a long time. We'll see where the Steelers go from here. Probably more likely that Mike Tomlin just picks one or the other. But I thought the fact that he was just so quick to say, yes, that could happen, meant it was okay to give this idea a little bit more thought. Let me know what you guys think. Is it totally crazy, or do you think it could work? I am obviously not so emotionally tied to the results, so I'm a lot more willing to be creative with the process than I think most fans are. So let me know what you guys think. Is this the stupidest idea ever, or is there something to the idea of letting Russell Wilson do most of the passing and still allowing Justin Fields to do a good amount of running? We'll reconvene here. Steelers Afternoon Drive with Smitty around 6. Until then, thanks for listening, thanks for watching, and enjoy.